All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna give people another minute or two just to see if anyone else is gonna jump on here live. For people that don't know, my name is Jason Burgess. I am the artistic director of Commonwealth Artist Student Theater. I apologize.
Theater.
I apologize for the schmutz. Get rid of that. There we go. So I appreciate you checking us out. Here in a minute, we're going to go over all of the things that are going to be involved with the Fringe NEXTival this year. Let me bring this up for everybody. One thing I'm going to do right away here is in the chat, if you have any questions at all, you can put the chat over there. Otherwise, if you know of people that are interested and they are not able to watch this video, it of course will be recorded and on our YouTube channel after this. So they can totally check it out and answer any questions that they might have. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump on into it. So the Cincinnati Fringe NEXTival that we created a couple of years ago was one to where what we did was we sought out high school playwrights that had a show that they might want to see. That's a lot to ask a high school student to do, is on top of their workload of everything else to try in their free time to build a show from the ground up, and then try to man that show from a producer as well. And we've been very fortunate over the last couple of years to have different schools involved in this process. We've had Walnut Hills involved, and Seven Hills, and Highlands High School, School for the Creative and Performing Arts, all kinds of different ones, and they were simply fantastic. But we understand trying at the same time to manage a class workload, potentially a job, doing theater on the side as well, that this might be a lot. And with the pandemic and everything else going on, we were like, how can we still do this, but potentially do it from a different vantage point? And so the vantage point that we're thinking of this year is, what if we created it to be more devised theater, more of an ensemble piece as opposed to putting it all on one person's shoulders? Now, that doesn't mean that if you are a student out there and you're like, but I have a show, and I'm ready to take it off the ground and do something with it. This does not mean that you still couldn't do this. We're looking for artists of all varieties to be a part of this. And what that looks like is this. This year, what we're doing is we're going to have a night. We're going to have it on Sunday, November 8th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Highlands High School, to where all students who are interested in creating new theater are going to come. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some moment work and some other things to vibe out people's strengths and weaknesses, to see what interests lie and what kind of theater people are wanting to. Are there people that are interested in spoken word? Are people interested in straight drama? Are they interested in potentially creating a musical? And throughout the night, what we're going to do is we're going to place those people into different groups so that they can be with like minds that are looking for that same kind of thing. If you're a playwright and you're like, but all I want to do is playwright, do I have to act? The answer is no. You can just be a playwright. I was involved in a show once to where we had a writer, and that's all he wanted to do was write dialogue and be a part of the process. And he was like, I don't want to be on stage. So there is that. And if you're like, I just want to act, can I just act? The answer is yes, absolutely. We still want you to be a part of the process from the beginning, so you know how it's being built. And for our technicians and designers out there, if you're like, well, I just want to design, I just kind of want to do the tech aspect, we need those people as well. So we're looking for all strengths and all groups to be a part of this devised process. when after this day would be over on November 8th, myself and other members of the quote unquote production team, or the people that are going to kind of be leading this, are gonna come together and be and kind of decide those groupings and be like, okay, we're going to put these people together and we're going to put these people together. From there, what we're going to do is, depending on the number of people we have, we're going to have an education mentor. So someone like myself, or Mike Sherman from Walnut Hills, Trey Tatum from Seven Hills, who are just going to kind of be your goalpost. They're going to be the mile marker. They're going to be the one to kind of make sure you're going along the process. Say what?
The pace setter.
The pace setter. Sorry, the off screen here is Amy Burgess, the executive director. So their job is to not create the content at all. Their job is to keep you on the right track. All three of us have created devised theater pieces before. All three of us have been in the Fringe Festival before, and so that's something that's within our domain. Along with that education mentor, you will also have a professional artist mentor, someone in the area who works in theater for a living, who can kind of give that standpoint as well. That could help out with some idea creation, ideas of movement work, whatever that might be, good for that group. Both of these mentors, their job is to guide you along the process, make sure you're meeting, make sure you're staying within deadlines and all of that. By no means like overstepping and really taking over the process, quote unquote. With this whole process, it would start mid to late November, and the group would decide best meeting times. So one person I know that I was talking to asked me if like, well, is there going to be a set meeting time? And what we're saying is it really depends on the group. If the entire group is like Sunday evenings are great, then that might be the time that they meet. The beginning might be more Zoom style potentially, depending on what the group is feeling for some idea creation. It might be that you're like, hey, we're all going to get together for go to a park and just kind of do some movement work, just kind of chat. But through the winter months when the things are being developed, we're thinking that's probably going to be less like in-person intensive, and more could be group chatting, once again, Zooming, email, whatever, once again, is comfortable for the group as a whole. While this is going on, the designers are still part of the process, because as you're creating, the designers are going to have ideas of like, well, how are we going to get this across? How are we going to get this across? Playwrights, of course, are going to be really in the thick of it. Through the group as well, as the idea is coming to fruition, like you would be the directors as well. And this whole piece and this whole ensemble work would take place from beginning of November all the way to April/May. Once we have set the groups, we will then talk to the groups about what looks like the best timetable as far as to put the festival on. We want to make sure all of our students are available. And so, May can be insane for a lot of people, especially if by that point we're in the spring and things are opening up and things are able to happen. We don't want to conflict with anything. We don't want to conflict with the spring musical or graduation, a prom, or anything along those lines. So that would be a group decision of what would work best for everyone. The ultimate goal is that the festival would be live, that we would do it in person in a theater. And, depending on where we are in the pandemic, we would shift how we needed to. For a perfect example, like I'm doing a live production right now, and we're doing a limited audience and a streaming option at the exact same time. So that could be an idea to where we have some audience members, but we're also streaming and doing a ticketing platform as well, so people could be in their house and watch. There's the possibility of us filming it or streaming it with no audience, or there's a possibility of like filming it ahead of time and then kind of doing a release. So all of the options are on the table. And once again, we want the ensembles, each devised ensemble, to kind of dictate what it is we're going to do, as opposed to us to put the edict down of it needs to be a certain kind of thing. As far as where the location of the theater is going to be, we're leaving that up. We're not solidifying that yet. We have about 3 or 4 different theaters that we could easily use, and locations to use. But we're kind of waiting again to see where we're looking at from a time standpoint, and then reach out to theaters. We don't want to reach out to theaters and be like, hey, could we tentatively maybe book this whole spectrum of dates, because that's not fair to them, especially if they're starting to open up again. With all of this, the goal is to get people to create new pieces of theater. We are really hoping to cross-pollinate between schools. So the plan would not be to have, like, a Highlands group, a Walnut group, and so on and so forth. We're hoping to interject different high schools with each other to create new theater. That being said, if you're a part of this process, or you're interested in this process, and you're like, hey, me and this person, we really want to work together and in a group, we can't guarantee it, but at least if you let us know, we can definitely keep that in mind. From this person and this person said they're kind of a package deal. What do we think about this? And so on and so forth. As far as the audition, I'm going to put it in quotes, audition is concerned, on the 8th, the way it's going to work is this. So we're kind of breaking it down into 3 groups. One group would be acting, one group would be playwriting, and then the other group would be technicians, designers. You can say you're interested in one of those groups or all 3 of those groups. It's not an either or kind of situation. You can decide to be as involved as you want to be involved, and is interested in what you want to be interested in. At this, what we will do is, if you're a playwright or you're interested in playwriting, we ask that you bring a writing sample with you, so we can just see what your writing style is like. It does not necessarily have to be a script. It could be some poetry if you're into poetry, creative writing. I'd prefer it not be like English, like essay. We want it to be more of like what you're interested in writing, not like your
analysis of your refugees.
Right. Or, what happened during the Holocaust. Like, your creative writing is what we're interested in. We will probably do some writing as well at the audition. And that's just to kind of challenge you from a prompt standpoint on the spot of like, hey, I'm giving you this prompt. Or it could be, hey, I'm giving you these 2 actors and you have 30 minutes to come up with a scene, and then guys are going to perform that scene. If you are a technician designer, we ask that you bring a portfolio resume if you have it. If you don't, do not freak out. That is not the end of the world. For our main stage productions that we do, we like it, but we have used designers every year that did not have a portfolio, so it's not the end of the world. If you're an actor, we ask that you just come in comfortable clothes and ready to move around. Because like I said, we're going to be doing some moment work and all those kinds of things. And I don't want you to be restricted in your movement at any frame whatsoever. We do ask that you please sign up before that night, just so it kind of gives us an idea of what materials to have prepared for that evening. And we don't have to scramble at the last second to make sure we have enough stuff for everybody. At this event, we will be doing all of the distancing, masking things that are going on. So we will ask that you're masked the entire time. We will be doing social distancing. We will be taking temperatures when you show up, and we'll be asking you like a short, like 5 questions about like, how are you feeling? Have you had a fever over the last, 48 hours, blah, 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 blah. So those are all kind of like there. We're not asking for like all of your conflicts up front, because once you get into the ensemble that you're going to work with, that's where the conflicts will come into play, and we'll kind of deal with it from that kind of vantage point. After we do the the audition interview that evening. It'll be over that next week where we will contact people personally and kind of let them know where we are in the whole process, what group we're putting them in, and when we'd like a response of if you're accepting or not. And then we'll like our first thing will be everyone together, just so that we can kind of like go over information with everybody all at the same time, as opposed to like meeting with this group here, meeting with this group there, and meeting with this group there. So there is that. Trying to think if I'm missing anything.
Once we get into the productions and rehearsal process of the writing and creating of the productions, we will have everybody sign a contract with the company, and it'll just be a contract that basically sets up your agreement to participate in the process, and that you aren't going to be like, I want to be the playwright for this show, and then in February you flake out because you have more schoolwork than you thought, or you got a job and you can't do this anymore. So we're going to set up a contract system with everybody, just to assure that a group doesn't wind up out to dry because people have dropped like flies. That contract is not monetary by any means. It is strictly a contract for time agreement.
And if you're under 18, you're a parent, you will sign it, and also a guardian parent will need to sign it as well.
In addition to the process that we have sort of set up for previous NEXTival experiences, most of that will translate over to this process. There was also a contract that went along with the NEXTival process, which will again be rolled over for purposes of the revised playwriting project that we're doing. And that contract basically was an agreement between us as cast and the folks as artists that said, we as cast will serve to support the production and do whatever we can to make the students successful. And then the students in turn will promise to market their shows, promise to promote the shows via social media and word of mouth and posters and things like that. And then as a agreement in that contract, we cast agree to pay the students a portion of the box office fees that are collected from the productions. So at the end of all of this, your blood, sweat, and tears of 7 months of work, you should be able to turn around and know, like, I'm going to walk out of here with some money from this experience, which is kind of a cool thing to do, especially in high school, that like you could get paid to do something that you love. And we recognize, as having been, working actors for a while and technicians as well, that you deserve to be paid for your artistic work. And so therefore, that is our agreement as cast with you as artists, that by the end of this, a portion of your box office will be yours for the taking.
And with that, we're not requiring like an activity fee or anything along those lines to participate.
Right.
Your time and effort into this is your payment, is to be engaged and involved. There was something I was going to say, and as far as the time commitment is concerned, once again, that's going to be very much a group decision. In my head, I would say, especially in the beginning months, you're probably looking at maybe 5 to 10 hours a month, because once again, it's about ideation and starting the process. And you guys will find out the rhythms that you're going to have within your groups of what it is that you're doing. And so we will supply rehearsal spaces for you when you are ready to do that. And us and the advisors that you're going to be working with, education and artist advisors, we will work in conjunction with each other to make sure you have safe spaces to rehearse these things or to workshop when you are ready for that. So this process is not meant to put a lot of burden on you to figure things out. This process is about giving you the freedom to create and putting the burden on us to give you all the tools you need in order to create.
Each show will also have a small budget. So that'll be another aspect of the process, will be once you have written the show and gone through the creative end of the playwriting portion. Once you start to move into production, there will be a small budget allotted for each of the shows. So you can allocate that towards things like costumes or set or props or lights or whatever your show deems necessary. And again, we're here to support you. So if you are having trouble, figuring out what it is you need or who to call to get that thing, that is our job as cast in order to help you. So.
One question that I had was someone asked if like how big each of these ensemble groups are going to be. And we don't want to make them too huge because then the process gets muddled down and too many people get involved. And so we're saying that you're probably looking at a group of 8 to 10, somewhere in there. Could it be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller? Yes. It just kind of, once again, depends on the vibe of the people that we have in the room on the 8th, and the ideas that people have, and the number of students. If we have, let's say we have, 24 students show up, then we'll make the decision. Okay, is that 2 groups of like 12-ish, or is that 3 groups? So it's not a hard, fast rule, but if we have a group of 24, that's not going to be a group of 24 that's going to create a piece of theater together, because that would be entirely too much. So, but we wanted to take this time to put this out there so people had time. Sunday, November 8th is a couple of weeks away, so it gives people time to marinate on this, to talk to their friends about it. Like I said, this video is going to remain on YouTube. So if you have friends that were unable to tune in, they can totally watch this on their own free time. They can even watch it on double speed if they want to really get through it. 23 minutes is a long time in life, I guess. So you can also contact us at info@caststages.org if you ever have any questions about anything. On the form that is in the comments in the chat section, that form will also be on caststages.org, to where you can easily find it and sign up there. The other thing I will say is if you are unavailable on the 8th, that does not preclude you from being involved. We understand that things come up and not everyone's always available. We just ask that you let us know. You go ahead and fill out the form, and then send us an email and be like, hey, I filled out the form. I'm really interested, but on Sunday, November 8th is my mom's birthday, and we're doing our own thing, and I'm not available. And we'll take that into consideration. We might ask you to do something on the side. Like we might say, hey, could you videotape yourself doing X, Y, or Z? Just so we have something to kind of go off for you. But that doesn't exclude you from being a part of the process of what it is that we're doing. I think that's it. I think that covers everything.
Shameless plug. Come to the ghost storytelling event that we're having next week on Friday, October 30th at 7 p.m.
Dude,
it's going to be really fun.
There's going to be fire pits, s'mores kits, so you could buy a s'mores kit and have some s'mores. Here's a crazy thing. So don't know if you know this or not, but Kona Ice has created a hot drink service.
Not hot snow cones.
Not hot snow cones. I mean, it's like Olaf, right? He loves summer. To where they'll have coffees, hot chocolate, and all of that. And so they're going to come to kind of be our like serve drinks to
Beverage
everyone.
service.
Yeah, our beverage service. You can come just to hang out and listen to things. You can also participate and have a chance to win some cash money. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Make sure you sign up as well, because we want to make sure that Kona stays long enough for people to get all of their hot drinks and all of that. You know, if you want to participate and tell a ghost story, it can be a write your own, or it can be you know, there's a great Edgar Allan Poe piece that you really love that you would love to like recite to people. Some people ask, like, do we need to be memorized? And what I've said is like, you don't have to, but at the same time, like, it doesn't hurt, and also it's going to be dark. So I mean, unless you're gonna have it on your phone, which is fine. Like, so anything is on the table, and also there are fun prizes if you dress up and, you know, really
best costumes,
theme it out as well. I heard some people, you know, putting their costumes together and all that stuff. So we're really excited. We know a lot of people are struggling. A lot of artists and a lot of theaters are struggling, and we're lucky to be in a place to where we feel like we can still offer some programming, bring people together in a safe way, to create, to communicate, and to collaborate, and we want to take advantage of that. So we thank you guys so much for tuning in. If there's something we didn't cover, by all means, feel free to email us, send us a message on any of our social media platforms, our website, and we hope to see you really soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.